Good morning. How are you guys doing? Great to see you all here. I'm Mayor Gene Johns. So happy to see all of you out here today. It's great to have this great crowd here. Sorry that we are here under the circumstances of the Senior Scam Stopper Summit, but I want to thank Assemblywoman Laurie Davies for putting together this Senior Scam Stopper Summit. Thank you so much for doing that. My name is Gene Johns. Prior to being here, I was in law enforcement. I did almost 32 years as an LA County Sheriff. 24 of those years I was on a DEA task force. So during my career, I saw a lot of scams and a lot of problems that take place. Upon retirement, I also went into the private sector, and I have clients that are victims of these scams. One of my very first clients that I ever had lived in the Bel Air area. She owned multiple pieces of property, and when I started working for her, there were 3 pieces of her property. People were trying to put loans out on her property in their names or her name, and then they tried to move $1 million from her bank account offshore. So they had her driver's license number, her date of birth, her home address, her bank account information, her social security number. All this stuff they got from internet access or other scams. So it's out there, it's happening every single day. And so this is a great event to help you understand how to protect your assets, protect your money. When it's gone, it's gone. If it's not a bank account that was scammed illegally, you lose that money forever. Same thing on the loans on the home. You got to be very careful to watch out for that stuff. So be very, very careful with that. So now what I want to do is introduce to you a really good friend of mine. He is the former mayor prior to me being the mayor. He's a current city council member. He is also a deputy DA here in Orange County, supervisors. So please welcome Council Member Ray Genoway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How's everybody doing this morning? You happy to be here on this Sea Country morning? All right. Well, we got a great program for you today. As Mayor John stated, my name is Ray Genoway. I'm a senior deputy district attorney for the County of Orange. It's also my privilege to serve as your city councilman for the city of Laguna Niguel. In my time as a prosecutor, I've prosecuted murderers, human traffickers, child abusers, third strikers, the worst of the worst. And as you know, and as we know on our city council and in our city, the 2 most important things you need to stop crime are education and enforcement. Now, our friends in law enforcement, the sheriff's department, the FBI, all of our police agencies, the district attorney's office, they tackle the enforcement side of that equation. Events like this provide education, provide information to you on how you can best protect you and your families from these bad actors. And so this is going to be a great, informative event. I'm really glad that our Assemblywoman Laurie Davies is hosting this along with Assemblywoman Diane Dixon. I want to say one note. For a lot of you, this may be your first time at the Sea Country or the Crown Valley Community Center. I know many of you have been here before. This building I like to showcase as a testament to good government in Laguna Niguel. In as many cities across the county that you're probably reading in the news have budget problems, this building was built with, we saved our money, we built it with all cash, no bonds, no sales tax increases, and we offered it to the residents to rent at a very low rate to have community events like this one. And one of the reasons this building got built in such an efficient manner is because of Assemblywoman Laurie Davies when she was the mayor and city council member here in Laguna Niguel. So thank you, Laurie. And it is my privilege to introduce our Assemblywoman Laurie Davies. She served on the Laguna Niguel City Council for 8 years. 2 of those years she served as the mayor. She's been our Assemblywoman since 2020. She is one of the we are really lucky to have her in the Assembly, and I say it for this reason. You probably notice in the news today hyper-partisanship in Washington, D.C., hyper-partisanship in Sacramento. We need serious legislators to move common sense legislation forward. And Laurie Davies is one of those people moving common sense legislation forward. She is one of the people who works across the aisle. She's had 35 bills that she has authored, signed into law. She's had 700 bills that she has co-authored, signed into law. And you don't get that done without working with both sides of the aisle. So we're very lucky to have Laurie Davies here today for this summit to educate us on how we can best protect ourselves and our families. Thank you so much.
I'm glad that you read every note that I gave you. Good morning. I first have to start out by saying thank you to my staff and the Parks and Recreation. If you can raise your hand, they're the ones that have actually put this together. We're really proud to have the senior scam. This is our second time in Orange County, but my district, as a reminder, is both Orange County and North San Diego. So we have Laguna Niguel, Dana Point, San Clemente, San Juan Capistrano, Camp Pendleton, Oceanside, Vista, and a little bit of Fallbrook. So we'll be doing San Diego this week as well, but it's sadly, we have to continue to do this because there's always something new. But again, education and making sure that we're informed is really the way we stop this. And so again, I want to say thank you for spending your day, your morning with us. I think you'll find it very interesting, and we have some great speakers. I just wanted to talk a little bit about financial abuse and scams. Obviously, are targeting everyone, especially our seniors, and I am a senior, so that's me as well. This is a massive issue in California. If you have been scammed, you are not alone. Do remember that. California reported losing $2.5 billion to online scams in 2024, 2025. California seniors also lost $1.4 billion, just the seniors. I mean, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of retirement, unfortunately. And just a little story, an 80-year-old Irvine man lost $25,000 after receiving a fake text messaging claiming to be from Apple about a suspicious Apple Pay charge. Anyone get one of these? Because I do. After he called the number, scammers told him his identity had been stolen and used to buy illegal drugs and firearms. The scammer later spoofed the real Irvine Police Department 949 phone number, with one scammer claiming to be the city's police chief and saying the victim needed to cooperate with federal authority. While kept on the phone for hours, the victim withdrew $25,000, placed the cash in a shoebox wrapped in duct tape, and handed it to a stranger in an Irvine shopping center parking lot. Irvine police reminded the public that officers will never call to demand money. In Sacramento, I've made it my mission to support legislation that will finally go after these thieves and equip our law enforcement with tools to prevent future scams. Thank you all for attending this special event. My goal today is to get you all the correct information, and I ask that you share this information with your friends to keep everyone safe. And I do believe that we are taping this so that we will have that available at another time. Next, I would like to introduce Assemblymember Diane Dixon, who's a co-host this event with me, and she's also my desk mate up in Sacramento. Assemblymember Dixon, as elected to the Assembly in 2022, she has been a fantastic member of the Assembly. Prior to serving in the Assembly, she served as mayor of Newport Beach and spent 40 years in the private sector with a Fortune 300 company. Please welcome Assemblymember Diane Dixon.
Well, thank you, Assemblymember Davies, and we are seatmates in Sacramento, and we share all the trials and tribulations of being part of the minority party, and she is very successful as a legislator working across the aisle. I learned from her. I've gotten 18 bills passed and signed by the governor, and I have another 11 waiting to finish going through the process. But we are, the two of us and our caucus, are always fighting to represent our constituents in public safety, to protect our communities in public safety, in all aspects. E-bikes is a big issue this year, and we both have done bills that are going through the process, and very proud of that. I just had a bill signed by the governor last week prohibiting piggybacking. So that takes effect January 1st. All bills really do, unless they have an urgency clause. So when you see young people piggybacking on their electric bikes, that will be against the law. So we're chipping away at all this, but public safety and serving our communities is our priority. These senior scams are so important, as Ray said, Councilmember Ray Genoway said, it's the education part of it that is so critical. This is probably my fourth senior scam. I represent, my assembly district is from Seal Beach down to Laguna Beach, and then inland, except for Laguna Niguel. I skip over Laguna Niguel and Laguna Woods and Laguna Hills. Rooms are like of seniors and younger people. And just in the announcement for this event, one of my council friends up in Seal Beach sent me an email yesterday, because I'm doing Seal Beach next week, I believe. And he said, somebody just wrote to him, a council member in Seal Beach, and said, Diane, that's constituent, you might want to talk with her. She just lost $150,000 last week. And the stories you will hear today that the law enforcement and the DA's office, the FBI will talk about, they're so real. And you go, we all get these emails. In fact, just the other day, I got one from PayPal to update my information. Maybe you got it too. I didn't respond. I figured if PayPal wants me to update, they'll figure out a way to contact me. But you just sadly have to be suspicious of any kind of overture on the computer. In fact, my husband said to me about 3 weeks ago, he was, this will be something with the DMV you may have done. He was updating the registration, renewing his registration for DMV, and I hear him calling me. He says, "Where's my Assemblywoman?" I said, "Yes, what do you want?" He said, "I just tried to re-register, renew my car registration, and it's gone to this website." I said, "Don't touch it, don't touch it, don't do it, don't do it." I passed a bill and the governor signed. So this is a warning that it's a scam, that if you are dealing with the DMV and you Google DMV and you get a .org, that is a scam. That's what my husband was doing this. My husband's in the DA's office, and he calls for his assembly person. And it will process your vehicle re-registration, that .org website, but they'll charge you like another $50. That happened. So I said, cancel it. I reminded him I did get legislation signed by the governor that in order to do properly, you can do online vehicle registration, but the website must be dmv.ca.gov. .gov is legitimate, it's government, trust it. But anyway, I'm really happy to be here so everybody gets educated, because senior scams, everybody's being scammed, not just seniors, but we want to help the seniors because, as Laurie said, these funds are so important in all of our lives, and maybe you can't recover those funds at this time of life. So there are emotional aspects to this, and so we're delighted that we also have someone who's going to follow me now. I want to introduce Dr. Lisa Gibbs. She's worked on health-related issues, and this is something that with anyone, doesn't have to be a senior, you're really embarrassed when this happens to you. How could you have done this? Didn't you make aware? So interestingly, a doctor may have some point of view of how to best deal with it. Dr. Gibbs is a nationally recognized board-certified geriatrician, specializes in older people, who specializes in the care and treatment of older adults. Her work focuses on healthy aging, chronic disease management, cognitive health, and comprehensive health assessments. She's held many awards and recognitions, and she's dedicated her career to improving health care for adults, and she's worked with UCI, expanding the UCI Health Senior Health Center, including memory assessments, comprehensive health assessments, and programs that support families caring for loved ones with dementia. And so her leadership has helped UCI Health become recognized as a national model for age-friendly care. And we are grateful to have her with us today and to share her knowledge and experience. And I'll be interested to see how it relates to scams and feeling you feel, what have I just done? And I hear these sad stories, so I think this would be an interesting aspect to understanding senior scams. So Dr. Gibbs, please come forward. Thank you, and have a great day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, hello, good morning. First of all, on behalf of UCI Health and UC Irvine, I want to thank the organizers for inviting us here today, so thank you. I think the question was set up quite well. What does a geriatric medicine physician have to do with scams or elder abuse in general, right? Well, I can tell you that I spent the early part of my career really building my career on becoming an expert in elder abuse. Can't hear? Okay, thank you. All right, so thank you. Yeah, we're good. All right, so I spent the early part of my career building an expertise in elder abuse, not just financial elder abuse, but all types of elder abuse. And I know elder abuse very well. I know elder abuse in Orange County very well because for decades, our department worked very, very closely with social services. In fact, every week we would meet with the APS workers. If you're not familiar with Adult Protective Services, they are the folks that actually go out and investigate when reports of elder abuse come into the county. And so we would meet, and then I would actually go into the homes of those clients who were victims of elder abuse to really help assess that, whether it's physically, mentally, psychologically, et cetera. I've also reviewed hundreds of cases for law enforcement related to the medical aspects of elder abuse and testified for the DA's office in Orange County. So when I say I know it, I know it. I know it in my own family. Both of my parents were victims of elder abuse. And just like everyone else who's getting PayPal texts, I get toll roads texts, right? I was like, did I do that? Did I drive down there on that particular day? So, we just have to really engineer our minds not to respond to these things. I also see patients currently at the Senior Health Center. I actually have seen the devastation of elder abuse on our patients. And many, as I mentioned, clients in Orange County. It's devastating. I've seen it shake the confidence of people who have managed their own affairs for decades. Okay, it can trigger depression, anxiety. It's just devastating, and then eventually it can affect the management of chronic disease. So it is devastating, and I'm glad to see so many people here who want to understand how to protect themselves, because as it's said multiple times already, once it happens, it's happened. And I know there's some great organizations here wanting to help us get our money back and restore our lives. The DA's office, the law enforcement agencies, the FBI, et cetera. But again, once it's happened, it's happened. So you guys are in the right place, I think, to help understand how to prevent it. All right, so just a few words to kick us off this morning. Why do scammers target older adults? I think that's pretty obvious. But if you remember Willie Sutton, anybody remember Willie Sutton? Okay. So when they asked him, why do you rob banks? Exactly, they said, that's where the money is. Okay. Where's the money? The money is potentially a whole group of folks that are now retired, who've saved their entire lives for these days, right? These years. So that's why they target older adults, okay? And even if there's not a lot of wealth involved, any money is a target. Social Security checks are a target. Houses, mortgages, everything's a target. So it doesn't really matter how much money one has. If there's somebody out there that thinks that you're a target, then they will try something. It is shown that older adults do fall for certain things more than younger persons. Older adults tend to trust the government, believe it or not. We do have a study that shows that. So if the government calls, 16% of older adults answered, and 6% actually gave the last 4 digits of their Social Security numbers. Okay, the government will not call you, right? Just try calling the government, and sorry, guys. but they're not going to reach out and call you. And that's, unfortunately, one of the ways my father was scammed. He lost some money, and someone from the FDIC named Oliver called and said, "I'm going to help you get your money back." Clearly something was wrong there. Again, urgency. These scammers are again, if you've been the victim, and I imagine that most of you in this room have actually been victims of elder abuse, even if it's identity theft, right? These are very good. They're very good at what they do. This is their job. This is their career. So we have to do everything on our side to understand what they're up to. We even have international figures who are working with people in the United States. I've seen that quite a few times as well. So why, again, older adults? I mean, if you think about the psychology of later decades, you understand, and as a geriatrician, I understand that there are so many changes in that period of life, right? There could be living situation changes, physical, medical changes. There can be loss. There can be loneliness. There's a lot of things that are happening from the ages of, 65 to 100. A lot of things are happening. I mean, people have a misconception that once you retire and you've saved up your money and then you can have your golden years and everything will be fine. But guess what? There's a lot that goes on after the age of 65. So this puts seniors in kind of a sea of change, if you will, at a point where sometimes the coping skills are not as good as they once were. So that makes it really a great target, because someone can call with an urgency or a crisis. Oh my gosh, your granddaughter's in Brazil and she's in jail and she needs $20,000 to get out. So you kind of wonder, how did I fall for that? But please don't feel bad about that. I mean, there's a lot of factors at play here, and a lot of people, even without any memory disorders or any problems, have fallen victim many times over. So please, these again, remember, these are polished. They're very good at what they do. They hone their skills, and you are their target. So again, there's shame that comes with being a victim, but I urge you not to feel ashamed, okay? So, and final, social engineering. There are a lot of folks that are exploiting the loneliness of older adults. And we know that there is loneliness out there. Sometimes when people leave their jobs, that was their sort of social construct, and then you retire. And then you're like, okay, well, so now where are my friends? So, we need to prepare to retire, by the way. We need to get to the point where when you retire, you know who your support system is going to be. But again, there's a lot of losses in these years, and there is a lot of loneliness that we need to combat as well. But again, these scammers and these scumbags, want to take advantage of all of that. And again, they're very good at it. And if they weren't successful, they would stop. They are very successful. Okay. And again, age alone does not make people susceptible. Okay, and I think I've shown, like, all of us. I mean, I've been the victim of identity theft, so all of us are targets, right? It's again, and I've already gone over this, but when aging is accompanied by changes in cognition, that adds another layer of risk. So it's shown that folks with dementia, 50% of them are victims of elder abuse. And not just financial, but physical, neglect, et cetera, et cetera. So having dementia really raises the bar there, or lowers the bar. Social isolation and stressful events. Okay. And I think we've gone over this, so why are more older adults more vulnerable? And some of the reasons I've already said, but again, I think some people have retired after the age of computers, or when computers were pervasive in their work environments, and people aren't as digitally savvy, right? So you're learning. Now, you're having, some of you in your 80s and 90s probably, are learning how to use a cell phone, how to use the computer, how to pay your bills through, through the computer. And then when someone comes along and wants to take advantage of that, it's actually pretty easy. And again, my dad's 96. And these scammers were able to get into his computer, change the PIN code so he couldn't get in without them knowing, put in some viruses so they knew exactly what he was doing. And, you know, he's cognitively intact, but, you know, again, don't feel ashamed. These people are very good. So by the time I took the computer over to Best Buy, it was just full of scamming material and viruses and things like that. So, but if you don't grow up, I mean, in a UCI, we have a huge cybersecurity department. We have to take training every year. I mean, but if you're out there as a retiree and you're just not used to all of this digital stuff, you know, it's easy to get taken. So don't download any apps, please. All right. Wanted to just take just a couple more minutes to talk about AI. AI is everywhere now, but AI is now infiltrating the elder abuse world, especially financial abuse. I'm going to show you an example of voice cloning, and then deepfake scams also recreate the images of folks. You've probably already heard of some Hollywood movies being made with celebrities' images. So now they're using this technology in elder abuse. Okay. There's phishing email attacks, so incredibly important not to return emails, especially if you do not know the sender. And by the way, if somebody wants you to click on a link in an email, please don't do it. Please don't do it. Go out into the web and then find that site yourself. Okay. And then finally, fake websites. Has anybody seen the fake Best Buy website? You may not know it, but you may have seen it. So again, it's so important for you to go into that computer, put in your own address, and look it up yourself. Don't trust any website anyone has given you. Okay, so I want to talk a little, I want to show first a video of an example of a voice scam, and then we'll see a video of a video scam. So I think this.
What you're about to hear is something I never said.
Hey, this is Carter. I need your credit card number right now.
I mean, that really sounded like me.
It is you. It's cloned you. It's AI Carter.
To test it out, we called my mother.
Hey, I'm about to do an interview, but I have a quick question. I need you to text me your driver's license number as soon as you can.
She fell for the fake voice. I feel bad.
I feel terrible about it.
Scammed my mom. Did you just get a call from me?
Asking for my driver's license number?
Yes. That was an AI-generated voice.
Oh, God, Carter, that's scary. Is this the real you now?
This is...
All right. So I also am very, very careful not to answer phone numbers I don't recognize, because I've heard that people can record my voice and maybe do this. But of course, if you have a media online presence, people can get your voice and your image and everything off of Facebook or TikTok or, you know, whatever have you. So here's an AI-generated video scam.
Cybersecurity expert Dominic Chourafakis says scammers are grabbing videos posted online to create AI-generated avatars that look and sound so much like the real person, they can fool people who know them well.
You can even use just a picture of the person, and then the lip syncing will take care of the rest. So yeah, you don't need long video segments. Even a still image will do.
To show you how this works, this is a tape that I'm making of myself that I'm going to upload to an AI tool, and then I'm going to type in a script of what I want my avatar of me to say. This is the AI-generated video of me. Can you tell the difference between AI and the real thing? If you're afraid a scammer could create an avatar of you...
Number one, limit what you put out there to the extent possible.
Okay, so scary, right? Yeah, very scary. So what can we do about it? And I know we have several experts on a panel coming up soon to tell us, but again, we do have some brief advice here. Stop before sending money or sharing personal information. In fact, just don't do it. Verify. So someone calls you, you can always say, you know, hold on, I'm gonna, you know, you can verify by calling that. Like if the toll roads calls you, you can say, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna answer this question, I'm gonna call you back. And you can call it the real toll roads number. And again, just check yourself. Talk with a trusted friend or family member and say, does this sound legitimate? You know, One of the best suggestions that I like is a family code word. So that if you are approached, let's say your daughter calls on the phone and she's asking for $5,000 because, you know, she's in trouble. And you don't, then you're like, oh my gosh, I've seen this. I don't know if it's really her. You can set up a code word and you can say, okay, what's the code word? All right. If they don't have the code word, you hang right up, right? So again, just really try to get yourself to stop and think about what's happening. Does this seem right? And if it seems suspicious, or if you've got this feeling in your, you know, just don't react quickly. You know, just listen to yourself. So again, never give personal information unless you initiated the contact. Again, the government will not call you. Okay. Don't click on links in the text and email. Another one is bypass using your PIN code and still use the credit card. Okay, so there are scammers that can somehow pick up the PIN code, but if you go through the debit or the credit system, it's a little bit safer. I'm sure someone else in law enforcement can explain how that works. You know, again, so there's going to be a lot of advice here today given to you, so please take it seriously. I think you'll be a lot safer after this seminar. As a physician, you know, clinical insights, we always encourage our patients to have a durable power of attorney for healthcare as well as for finances. Encourage automatic bill payment. And again, you know, there's financial challenges in life. If you or your loved one start to have some memory issues or cognitive changes, you know, please set up a trust. Please set up something that talks about your will and your desires if someday you're no longer able to direct your own affairs. That way you can protect yourself. I can't tell you how many times in my work with social services agency, you know, we were left without any documentation, any paperwork, and any ability to ask patients what they really want. Okay, like who do you want to take care of you? Where do you want to live? How do you want your money to be spent this way? If you can prepare yourself beforehand legally, you know, then when something happens and you're not able to speak for yourself, people don't have to wonder and guess and listen to nefarious people or maybe legitimate people, but we don't know sometimes. And again, we see people with a lot of physical and mental health challenges as they age. And we do our very, very best, even in the clinical world, as primary care geriatricians, to really want to protect you and help you feel safe. So help is available. Please, again, just an announcement, if you know or you suspect anyone is being abused, please report to Adult Protective Services here in Orange County. I want to point out Nika Seville in the back. She has our UC Irvine table, and she can send some of the resources to you if you at least sign and give your name, and I promise we're not scammers. You can give us your information, just don't give it to anyone else. Okay. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for helping become educated and taking care of yourselves. I think together we can make a big dent here, even against some very formidable powers and sources. All right, thank you.
There's two things. One, probably one of the most important, she said, is that code. Because I know that my mother went through that too. She thought it was her nephew. He's like, I'm in jail, Grandma, you know, in Mexico. And don't tell Mom and Dad. And my mother was actually ready to go and get gift certificate cards. And a friend of hers knocked on the door and came in and stopped her. But that's so important that you have one code word for your entire family because of this AI, and they can make everyone sound just like, you know, your loved one. And I tell you too, come November, if it's something out there that looks like me and they're doing bad stuff, it's not me. I'm just waiting for that, I swear. I'm just waiting for that. I'm like, honey, that's not me. I told you that. I was in Sacramento. Also, please, one thing you can really do is tell two people about today and some of the important tools that you're taking with you. All right, so let's go on with our panel. First, it's my pleasure to introduce Supervisory Special Agent Brett Chabot with the FBI. Chabot has served with the Bureau for more than 16 years and has become a lead expert in fighting fraud and cybercrime. Following his assignments as the Unit Chief of International Operations Division Asia Unit, Chabot now serves as a supervisory special agent for the Complex Financial Crime Squad in Orange County. Next, we will have Deputy District Attorney Tina Patel, who has been with the Attorney's Office for over 20 years. Patel actively serves as the Assistant Head of Court for Major Fraud in Orange County for the past 9 years, where she tackled elder financial fraud and abuse. Lastly, on our law enforcement panel, we have Sergeant Laura Barber with the Orange County Sheriff's Department, who served as the investigative sergeant in charge of financial and cyber crime, where most of her investigations targeted elder fraud. Barber is currently a doctoral candidate for the PhD in intercultural education. Please come on up, everyone. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for that introduction. Again, my name is Brett Chabot. I work with the FBI here in Orange County. We focus a lot on scams, which we'll cover here in a little bit. But one thing I want to say first, and just touching on what Mr. Genoway said, is outreach and education is very important. We try to do these at least once a month. And so we have a pretty standard presentation that goes over the details of a lot of the scams that we see on a daily basis. That's like a 60-minute presentation. We try to walk you through the details. We have really good examples we have to show you, but I know we don't have time for all that today, so I'm going to try to truncate all that down into 5 or 10 minutes so I can give my colleagues here some time to speak. I don't want to hog all the time, but this is a very complicated subject, as you'll learn here and as you've seen from some of the other speakers so far with the AI, and I know there's going to be a lot of questions on that. But I just want to start by saying that the problem set that we're facing is significant. Somebody else had mentioned this before, that we're up against professional organizations, right? We're not, imagine going onto a basketball court, like we're not playing a bunch of third graders. Like these are the New York Knicks that we're playing, right? These are sophisticated criminal enterprises that have departments and segments. They have money launderers, they have recruiters, they have the scammers who are the people on the phone, they have the leadership, they have the people that fly to the US to open bank accounts, they have the couriers here, and I know one of the, Laurel's gonna touch on that here in a little bit, where they have couriers that work in our backyard right here to take your hard-earned money from you. So this is, imagine a Fortune 500 corporation that was set up to scam. That is what we're facing, and that's why these numbers that we'll go over here in a second are so significant. So as you can see on these slides, this is fraud that's reported to the FBI by way of the Internet Crime Complaint Center, which is just a public-facing website that the FBI has for victims of fraud to report scams. As you can see, just 2025 alone, we had over 1 million reports. What's troubling, as you can see in the middle, is the loss amount was $21 billion. That is not a fabricated number. We have a unit, or I should say, that's not a, that's a really good estimate, I guess. It's not an exaggerated number. We have a full unit at FBI headquarters that processes and reviews every single IC3 complaint, and then if it's significant enough, they will action it out to the field, to Orange County as an example, if the victim is here, for us to review, look at, potentially take action on. What we're looking at on this slide right now is the alarming trend that we've seen in reports to IC3 since 2001. And more importantly, I guess if you just look at the last 5 years, from 2020, 2021, up to 2025, which is the most recent year we have reporting for, you can see we're trending in the wrong direction, right? Like that's a bad trend right there. And you go to the far end, the right side of that screen, that's the 21 billion. We were at 16 billion roughly last year, 16.5 billion. So the scammers profited another $4.5 billion beyond what they did in 2024, and we thought that was bad. And I can tell you from the seat that I'm sitting in just in Orange County that number for 2026 is probably going up, because perfect example, and I know folks like to hear concrete examples, because we hear about, well, look out for this and watch out for that, and that's our kind of longer presentation. We try to cover in a lot of these examples. But here's a specific example that Laurel and I were just talking about a few minutes ago. of an elderly victim in South Orange County, maybe in the district here that we're talking about, reported, I think, both to Orange County Sheriff's Office or Sheriff's Department as well as the FBI via IC3 that since 2025, roughly November of 2025, the victim has passed over $6.5 billion in gold coins to couriers that she has either met in parking lots here in Orange County, or the couriers have come to her house to pick them up, right? So again, we go back to the sophisticated criminal enterprise that we were talking about, right? This isn't just a couple of scammers sitting in a condo in India or Cambodia somewhere. This is a huge organization, a Fortune 500 organization set up to steal your money. That's exactly what their goal is, and they're really good at it. They have people that create fake websites and open bank accounts, and we talked about the money launderers, and we have the couriers that are here, right? These are all like just little pieces in this large apparatus that allows them to steal $21 billion. So huge amount, unfortunately, going in the wrong direction. The woman that I had just mentioned here in Orange County, she was a victim of a tech support scam. So basically she was contacted by her banker. Actually, this was more of a bank impersonation scam. Contacted by what she thought was her bank. Her bank said there was a problem with her account. You had heard from one of the previous speakers that they were preying on her fear and urgency. Hey, you have a problem with your bank account. You need to fix it right now. The fear, the urgency. If you don't fix it right now, your account's going to be closed. Everything that you have set up for auto pay and credit cards and everything else, it's all going to get shut down. So that fear is what caused her to start withdrawing money. But she didn't want to send it overseas, which is where the scammers were. So what did she, they coordinated to go have her pull money out, go to a local gold shop, buy gold coins, package those coins up, a courier will come pick it up. And these couriers, we've sat with Orange County sheriffs, with the DA's office, who's prosecuting one of these cases right now. We've sat in and done surveillance on these couriers. They're really sophisticated. We all know what two-factor authentication is, right? You get the code on your phone, that's how you confirm it's your device and it's you logging in. Well, the courier who showed up at the door in an instance that we had about a month and a half ago that led to the arrest of a courier, that courier had a two-factor authentication code that the victim had to confirm with the courier so they knew they were involved in the same transaction. So it's just another level of sophistication which gives the gives the victims more sense that this is real when obviously it's not. So I'm going to just cover as quickly as I can the types of scams that we go over. And this isn't death by PowerPoint, so I'm not going to go over any more slides. But there's really three types of scams that we see on a daily basis. The three most prevalent scams that I want you folks to be aware of. The first is what we would call a romance scam. This is more of a confidence-based scam. So we talked about the impersonation one, the victim here just a couple minutes ago. That is the fear. That is a fear and urgency. They're preying on the victim's fear. That's a fear-based scam. The romance scams are confidence-based. They don't ask for money in the first phone call. They don't ask for money even many times 3 to 4 weeks in. They might wait 2 to 3 months. What are they doing in that time? They're building confidence. They're building the relationship. We heard Dr. Gibbs mention social engineering. There's another department in this large Fortune 500 company. They're the social engineers, right? Every single one of us, myself included, we all have digital exhaust. What is that? That's basically little breadcrumbs that you leave on the internet so people can learn more about you. Sometimes it's really blaring, like your home address. Other times it's maybe an image you posted on your LinkedIn page or on WhatsApp or on any social media that you're on about a trip that you just took. Well, the scammer is researching your name, and they're not just going on page 1 of Google Hits, right? They're taking the deep dive on these confidence-based scams to find out everything about you, how many kids you have. Do you like skiing? Where do you travel to? This is all part of the relationship building over the first couple of months. And what's alarming about that is the victim thinks they have a friend. So many times this is a love interest. Sometimes it's not. It's just a friend. And at some point, 2 to 3 months down the road, the scammer is going to introduce an investment opportunity. And it's usually, we also call this digital-based investment fraud. They're introducing, hey, my uncle used to work for JP Morgan Chase. This is a real example we saw. My uncle used to work for JP Morgan Chase. He had this great algorithm. He knows how to make money. Why don't you just send me $10,000? I'll show you how to do it. Keep in mind, they've already been talking to this person for 2 months. So they're like, oh yeah, I trust this person. I'm going to send them $2,000 or $10,000. They do it. There's the software development piece of the Fortune 500 apparatus, right, that creates the fake website that looks like the 10,000 is now increased to 20,000, right? Suddenly the victim's like, wow, she's actually telling the truth. Look at my investment, it's increased. I'm gonna send more money. And that's where we see the bloodletting happen, right? And suddenly 10,000 becomes 100,000, becomes 500,000. And as Dr. Gibbs mentioned, sometimes we see they don't have any left in their nest egg, so what are they gonna do? They're gonna take out a mortgage on their house, take out a second home equity line of credit, and then they're gonna send that money. And that's where we've had victims in Orange County report losses in excess of $20 million, one victim. Okay, so that's the confidence-based scams. There's a lot more to it, but I don't want to take up too much time. The other ones that we mentioned are the impersonation and tech support scams. Those are the three that we see the most. So we have romance scams, also called confidence scams, right? And then we have the government impersonation, sometimes it's bank impersonation, and we have tech support. You heard the example before. I think about an ad that pops up on your computer. That's what we would generally call tech support. It changes in terms of who the quote-unquote a legitimate company is behind it. It might be PayPal, it might be Best Buy, we've seen Amazon, we've seen all of them. But the scammers can create what looks like a real invoice from PayPal, email it to the victim and say, you owe $15,000 as an example. This is all fear and urgency based, pay now or your account's gonna be closed, right? We get at my desk, and I'll just a quick summary before I turn it over to my colleagues here, is in FBI just in Orange County. Remember, we're just a satellite office of larger FBI, right, where we have 2 other squads up in downtown LA that do the same thing that my squad does here in Orange County. We probably see 15 to 20 complaints like this a week, right? It might be romance scam, it might be tech support, it might be the government impersonation. It's usually one of those 3, but they're coming to my desk because there's victims in Orange County who have reported a loss, right? So that hopefully helps you understand how prevalent this is. And I guess I'll just leave you with one final takeaway before I turn it over, is that, again, just remember who we're up against. These folks are really good at what they do. And we're really good at what we do too, but we're chasing them, and it's never fun to chase. You want to be the one being chased, right? And it's not fun to chase when they're 6 weeks ahead of us, because many times victims don't necessarily know they've been scammed. They're ashamed to report. They won't report to law enforcement right away. So by the time we get the report, that wire transfer was sent 4.5 months ago to Vietnam. There's nothing we can do with that. I can't go to Vietnam and get your money back. Same thing with crypto investments. If it was if it was sent in cryptocurrency, even if it was 2 weeks ago, unfortunately, there's a 99.5% chance it's gone. We're not gonna get our money back. So I'll stop there and turn it over to my colleagues. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So nice to be here today. I did a similar panel, I think, last year, so if I saw any of you and I have the same story, I apologize. But as a member of the DA's office, I think the most important thing to learn about our role is that I'm not going to usually see the crime until we found the perpetrator, right? Because my law enforcement partners do all the investigative work, they get all the reports, but it's not until they actually find the person that I become involved or my office becomes involved. So yes, I also see all the same scams, the internet-based scams, the phone call scams, the fake email from Amazon or Target or whatever. But usually, like Brett said earlier, we're not gonna find those people, right? Because they're gonna be the person who actually sent the email, then the person that money went to, then the person that took it out from there and already sent it off probably to a different country. So prevention is really, really, really important. I think Dr. Gibbs talked about that. It's really about educating you guys now so you don't fall for these things. But I'll talk to you about a few scams that I will actually see because we actually found the person, right? So we have a suspect who then we file a charge against, and then they become a defendant, and then we can take it through the court process. And some of the most common ones that I can talk to you about today, I do have a presentation, but I'm probably not going to use it because we're all going to hear the same thing. But probably the most common that I will finally see is, or more currently see, is investment scams. Okay, so that means it's someone you knew, okay? It's someone you became friends with or someone you started talking to, and you trusted them because they told you there was this amazing investment opportunity that they can turn. You have all this retirement money. It's just sitting there. It's just sitting in a bank. I have this great investment plan, and you're going to make so much more interest on this, and you're going to be even more rich. And here's my example of what I've done for someone else, right? So how do you not fall for that? Because you know this person. You've gotten to know this person. It's not some random person on the internet. It's hard. There's no great solution, but the important thing is think about how recently you might have met them, how fast they are already talking to you about your finances, and how quickly then they're saying, invest with me, okay? And I see this most commonly in what I think, I don't know if I made it up, but I call it affinity scam. So that's some sort of group that you feel a part of, and so you think, I would never not trust this person in this group. So where is that common? For example, church, okay? Because we go to church and we worship the same religion or whatever it is, and so you think, this person at the church would never do this to me. They believe in the same thing I believe in. And maybe there are really good investments out there and good people out there. I'm not saying everyone's bad, but just stop, right? Stop and think before you just give over. And I've seen thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions in like one check, and then it's gone, right? It's gone. And yes, we can try to get that person in court and do everything we can, but the chances that the money's still there are not high. We have gotten that back before, but it's usually not common. And then all that money you spent is gone very quickly. So just be careful who you are investing with. Look into the investment a little more. Don't believe everything they say. And similarly, like if you're into a sport, like everyone's into pickleball, right? So you go to the pickleball court and you might have your best friend, your new best friend, but it's not somebody you hung out with for 20 years. It's your new best friend at the pickleball court, and they start talking to you, and then they're like, let's go out to lunch, and then, okay, well, let's somehow talk about, well, what are you doing in your retirement? And then you somehow talk about how much money you have, whatever it comes up. So just be aware. Stop before you just give over a check, not knowing anything more than that. And then another thing investment scams being more common, but I'm also unfortunately seeing a lot of caretaker scams. And there are amazing caretakers out there. So every time I say that, I don't want to take away from the absolutely fabulous caretakers that are out there taking care of our senior population. But a lot of times what happens is the caretakers are in your life and they have legal, valid, access to your account because they have to go out and get groceries or they have to get medications or whatever it is, and you allow them to do that, and that's fine. But just be careful what you are allowing them to do. Are you giving them full access to something? Are you giving them, some sort of ATM card with some money, whatever it is. Think about that, and more importantly, look at your finances, look at your bank records, because when I've seen these cases come through, it's typically a caretaker who came into someone's life, was doing great, did nothing wrong. Years later, maybe a family member, like a grown child of the senior person came in and started looking and thought, I don't think my mom spends this much on groceries every month, right? It just doesn't make sense. Or I don't think my mom has this specific bill that she pays. This doesn't sound like something she even, this company is someone she does any sort of business with. And you don't notice because you're mostly fine, right? You're still paying your bills, you're getting your groceries, you're doing everything you need to do. So you're not really looking or noticing when a little bit is being moved out. I'm not talking about like they took $100,000 out and did something big. It's just small amounts. But I've seen cases where 2 years later, it's $100,000, $1 million, where they just slowly took something every single time. And those cases can be hard for us also because, they will just say, well, no, they gave me permission. They gave me permission to do this. And once in a while, they said it was okay that I went and had lunch, because they'll take care of it. And that's fine. But the point is, just look, right? Just get in the habit of looking at your bank accounts. Does everything look normal? Does it look basically like what it should look like? And if you're internet savvy or you're fine with looking on the internet, great, go look at it on the internet. But if you don't, go to the bank and ask and just check that everything seems normal, because we are going to get taken advantage of by people that we think are our friends and trust. And so that's kind of the main ones that I see. Of course, I will just touch on the the scams that are, I just always want to make sure I tell you guys this at these presentations. The internet-based scams, like the fake Target email and the fake Amazon email, I still see those. My number one advice for that is go to the actual website, right? So, because I know I'll get something from, let's say, Bank of America, because I have an account at Bank of America, and it could be real, and it looks super real, but it's very simple. Just do not click that link, do not send money, do not even call the phone number that's at the bottom saying, hey, if you have a question, call this number. Do not do that. Go outside of that, find the real Bank of America customer service or whatever it is, and ask them. I got an email, this is what it said, is there fraud in my account, do I owe money for this, whatever it is, and you will get somebody who can actually tell you, and 9 times out of 10, you probably don't have something you need to pay. It's the urgency with which these fraudsters try to get you, right? Pay right now, or we're gonna close your account. Give us this money right now. And most government agencies, real investment opportunities, whatever it is, they don't need the money this minute. So you have time to stop and think about it. And there's so many good resources here. So I would say, go around, collect all the pamphlets, and then if you're in a situation, go look and say, wait, is this something that one of these people talked about or one of these people wrote about in their booklets? Because it might be something that saves you from just going over and, reading a similar scam. So I don't have a lot of time either. I will stay and talk to you guys, because I know everyone likes to ask very specific DA's office prosecutor questions later. But I will leave you with my favorite story, because people love a real life case example, I've learned. And so if you've heard it before, I don't know if you guys were here last year, if anyone was here last year when I spoke, but if you heard it before, sorry, however. My favorite crime that I've seen, which is kind of a little bit of what Brett talked about, which was like a romance scam, but it started off as somebody in another state, Alabama, I think it was, who was looking for a tractor, okay? And I guess you can go on eBay and buy a tractor, a whole tractor. And so he went on there and it said, there's this tractor. And it was, I can't remember the exact number, but it was like $10,000 or $12,000. And so, of course, he said, okay, because it looked real, and clicked, and then sent off his payment, to whoever this person was selling the tractor. And sure enough, no tractor came, okay? And then there was a phone number, an email address, so he starts emailing and calling like, hey, I sent this payment, where is it? Somebody emails back and says, oh, it's coming, we're processing, we have a delay in the shipment, whatever. So he's like, okay, I'll wait. Waits, no tractor, contacts him again. Some other person emails and calls with a different name and says, oh, it's, we're getting it, it's coming, whatever, just kind of leads him on for a little bit. And luckily, at some point, he decided, you know what, I'm just gonna report this. I'm going to report this to my local police department in Alabama. Side point, please, 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 please report, because we can find people. We don't always find people, yes, because sometimes they're in a whole nother country, but we will. Actually, I've talked to both Brett and Laurel on the email a bunch of times, and then today I'm actually meeting them. But we work together, and so I encourage you to report. But he did report, and then the police over there in Alabama, this criminal was not sophisticated, and so the money was going right into some guy's account, and so they saw it, and they looked up where this account was, and it was a guy in Aliso Viejo, okay? And so, I think it was actually the sheriff's department went out to his house, and they're like, okay, well, we have a search warrant because there's a large amount of money that went into your bank account, and they got search warrant to look at his bank records and all that. And from there, found 2 or 3 more people from eBay, tractor sales, who never reported it, just either hoped it would come or gave up, contacted those people, and they're like, yeah, did the same thing. This was the advertisement, this was where I sent the money, and nobody would have ever known, but he actually, when they searched his home, he had written all this down. He had notes with everyone's numbers and everyone's information, and the sheriff's got all that for us. And then from there were some other really large transactions in his bank records, like $25,000 from some state, and then $40,000 from some other state. And they thought that's a little weird, because you can also see what the person's legitimate job is if they have it and they get a normal paycheck. So it's a little weird when a huge sum of money comes in. And from there found, I think, about 4 senior women from different states who he was talking to, pretending to be someone else, maybe more their age. This guy was like 30, and sending them photos of someone else, and they fell for it, romance scam, and talked to them for months. And of course, when the law enforcement contacted them, a couple of them were super reluctant to even get involved because they're embarrassed, right? It's embarrassing that I fell for this person, thought he was real, and then sent him a very large amount of money. I'm not talking like $100 for something, but he convinced me. I think the 2 that would talk to us, I think, said something like, he said, oh, I was in the war and all my medals are being held by the government, and so if I don't send $20,000, I'll never get those. And she was like, okay, I have it. And she just sent it off. And then another one was something related to like, I want to do this business opportunity, and then we can be together in the same state, and she believed him because he sent all the right things and he talked to her. Anyway, so we got him on all those victims, and then we went on to prosecute him. And lucky for him, he had parents who paid a lot of the money back, but unfortunately for his parents, because they didn't do anything wrong, but they wanted to help their son. So we got the money back on that. But that's a very rare example. So I'll leave you with my favorite quote when I do these presentations is, do not send money to anyone you've never met. Okay? Just remember that. Do not send money to anyone you've never met. That doesn't mean you have to pay your bills. I know you don't know the guy from the gas company or the electric company. I know that. I know you never met him. You have to pay that bill. But if it's someone who comes on the internet, on a phone call and whatever, and starts talking to you, and they send you photos and they talk to you forever, but you've never met them, right? So think about it. Think about it before you do that. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Sergeant Laurel Barber with the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and I'm here, we are here, because all of you are very important people. And you are here because you are very important people. And it is important to us that you have a good retirement, that you have a good life at the end of your life, so that your whole life is good. Unfortunately, my job is to read pretty much all the financial scam reports that happen across the county of Orange. Every single day I come in, every single day there's a lot more, hundreds every month, and it breaks my heart. And I don't want to read anymore. I want all of you to be wise with how you live. That's my biggest request. So there's a number up there. It says dispatch. Since we're in the gorgeous city of Laguna Niguel and my in-laws have lived here for years, please use the 949. Is this working? Please use the 949-206-6100 number. If you have a phone call from your bank and they're asking for your social and they want you to get out cash and meet them and hand them cash, call us. If some Army veteran overseas is desperately in love with you, but he can't get to you and he needs you to send him $200,000 for a plane ticket, call us. If you think that your daughter was kidnapped, call us. But especially if they're asking for money and then we trace the number and it's from Mexico, call us, right? Please call us. Don't be embarrassed. My ex-husband called me. He's like, Laurel, I just got off the phone with, I thought it was my bank. And I'm like, oh, you got scammed. But he called me and we could help him. So if he has the humility to call us, you should definitely call us. We are here to help you. We are here because we care about you. I've done all kinds of training that your taxes paid for so that I can help you. Call us. My investigators are amazing people, and they work really hard. We've had some success in our office last year. We got back over $3 million that had been stolen from the population of Orange County. Unfortunately, that's a drop in the bucket from what was stolen from you, as my partner Brett said earlier. It's a drop in the bucket. Even if we can't find your suspect or your money right away, sometimes down the road, we've had success where, hey, other people reported stuff, and then one of our Orange County residents reported stuff, and we traced the bank account, and we were able to freeze the money, and we got all the money back for our Orange County resident, and there was leftover, and then we could look in the FBI and they helped us out, and they helped us find other victims for this same suspect, and we got their money back too. So if you don't report it, we can't help you. Please call us. Please report it. Even if you feel dumb. I feel dumb every day. I mean, how often? We don't know everything. No one knows everything. Call us. We want to hear from you. If you aren't sure, call us, right? If it doesn't feel right, call us. And if a city chief ever calls you from the sheriff's department asking for money, call us, because it's not us. And we've had residents in Orange County lose hundreds of thousands of dollars thinking that they were sending it to the sheriff's department. We don't do that. Call us and we'll send a deputy in uniform, or they'll have a badge. If it's one of my investigators, a badge and a gun, right? And we'll show you our ID. That's us. And we'll say, don't give them money. But maybe we can meet up with them and we can take them to jail, right? So please call us. There's a QR code right there that has a lot of scams on it that you can read about on your own time, because I know we didn't have a lot of time today. 2 scams I want to talk about. Number 1 scam growing in Orange County right now that comes across my desk every day, tens of times. Because you are good people and you pay your taxes and you pay your bills, unfortunately, a lot of you like to pay with checks, and you like to mail the checks. And checks get stolen from mailboxes. They get stolen from inside the postal office. I read these reports every day. We walked inside the post office, just to make sure our letter wasn't stolen from the blue box, and we put it in there. There's, and we don't know where it gets stolen from in the system, but a lot of your checks are being stolen out of the mail right now. If at all possible, please do not pay with check. Please pay online, right? Have that automatic withdrawal. I paid my IRS taxes this year online, not with a check. It's my first year. After seeing all of you losing your money with checks, I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm paying it online. And it worked, as far as I know. They'll let me know if it didn't. All right? Please, if you absolutely have to pay with a check, follow up. Follow up. When you see that money, because scammers are really smart, they used to be dumb. They'd wash the checks, they'd add another $1 million and cash it, or try to cash it, and that was really obvious. They're like, hey, where'd my $1 million go, right? But now they're getting smarter, and they're not adding money onto your checks. If you write a check for $1,300 for your taxes, whether it's for the county, whether it's for your property tax, whether it's for the IRS, they leave the money the same. And so, as you know, we balance the checkbook, right? And you go and you balance, that $1,300 came out just like it was supposed to, and you don't check who cashed it. And you find out 6 months later when the IRS sends you a letter, hey, you never paid your $1,300. And you said, yes, I did. And you look, and it was, cashed by someone named Rosa Marquez. And you're like, I don't know a Rosa Marquez. I wrote that, and you look back in your checkbook, and yeah, it was to IRS, that same check number. It's very, very late in the game at that point to try and get your money back, and it's very, very hard to catch these people. So please, if you absolutely have to pay with a check, don't. But if you do, go online, their bank account, and it shows whose name is written. When that money comes out of your account, you can look same day. I look every day. Okay, I wrote a check. I do sometimes. I know I shouldn't, but I do sometimes. And I check whose name. Was that the name of the person I wrote it to? Please check. And if it's not, call us. Thank you. Call us. Good, okay? Second thing I want to talk about, and we hit on it earlier, I just want to pound that nail in the coffin because it's really important. Never, ever in your life have you ever taken out $25,000 in cash and given it to a courier. That's not normal. Please do not do that. Never have you taken out money and bought gold coins or gold bars. We've had both in Orange County multiple times. And these people were smart enough to have enough money to buy the gold. So it's not like they were dumb. They weren't. They were tricked. And they went and they bought the gold bars, the gold coins. They went and got the cash out. They lied to the bank and said it was for home improvements or buying a car or whatever, right? And they handed over to someone they'd never met before in their entire life. Don't do that. But if you do that, call us, okay? We really care about you. We really do. We love you guys. We're here to protect you. The best defense is a good offense. You have to let us know when things don't feel right. You have to let us know when things go wrong. Maybe we can't solve it today. Every case that we have, maybe we close it today. We can reopen it when, hey, this dummy does that another 5 times, and now I have police reports from around the country, ha. And each one, like Brett was saying, has a little breadcrumb. And we can put those together, and now we're kicking down doors, and we're taking people to jail. So please still make the report. Be humble. Call us. We're all dumb in our special ways. Like I said, I still write checks sometimes, right? Please call us. You guys have worked too hard to not have your own money. You have worked too hard to worry about what am I going to eat in retirement. It breaks my heart when I have to call Meals on Wheels because a senior has lost all their money to a scam. Please don't be that person. But if it does happen, call us, and maybe we can still help you. All right? Thank you.